Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish quick take after Fulham's 1-0 defeat at Bournemouth. I'm in my kitchen. This is a bit of a new one for me on the quick take, and Elizabeth's here. And hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to my kitchen.
Yeah, it's my first time in Sammy's kitchen. Great kitchen. First time meeting Sammy's dog. Yeah, but disappointing game to talk about, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was particularly frustrating when the game ends 1-0 from a goal in the first minute. Just feels like I feel really pent up with frustration after that because, it was a really sloppy goal as well that Fulham gave away in the first minute. A Castagna mistake. What is Robinson doing? No one covets himself in glory. Just felt a little bit like we weren't alive to it. We weren't fully in the game at that point. That will frustrate Marco no end because it was just sloppy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like obviously Castagna, Robinson, I think Leno can do a little bit better, to be honest, with that shot. But it's the sort of thing when you're a supporter and you turn on the TV or you take your seats in the Vitality Stadium, and then within the first minute we're conceding. You're just sort of locking in for a long evening. And I thought at the time that we'd be able to turn it around and come back, but it wasn't to be tonight.
No. Bournemouth should have made it 2-0. Evan Nilsson missed a big chance. And then actually after that, I felt like Fulham really started to turn it on a little bit. Muniz missed a fairly big chance, little bit of a weird one how it fell to him. But I think the really big chance for me was Sessegnon at the back post. An unreal ball from Alex Iwobi to pick him out. And of anyone on the team, apart from maybe Muniz, I'd have wanted that to fall to. You think it's Sessegnon, right? The man that is known for his ability finishing. And yeah, just a little bit frustrating because you just expect someone like Sess to bury that.
You sound like a man who didn't see Muniz's attempted header at Arsenal the other week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The thing with the first one, Rodrigo Muniz's one, when he is is it Dean Howson dispossessed? That is the point where I'm like, that should be a goal. And then Muniz kind of runs himself a little bit into a spot of bother. And then at the point where he is, it is kind of unforgivable that he sweeps it wide in the way that he does. But I think if he gets it on target, Kepa still has a really good chance of saving it. Maybe he should square it to Pereira. I don't know, but then maybe Pereira would have missed it. The Sessegnon one's really frustrating. But Sessegnon is not known for being a great header of the ball, and I would like a shot like that to fall to him when he can use his feet, but I wasn't surprised that it was a kind of cushioned header to Kepa. I don't know. It was frustrating. And when it happened, I did think, we'll definitely have way more great chances, obviously.
Yeah.
We had some good chances, but turns out those two were our best, really, of the game.
Yeah, I felt like we ended the first half the slightly better side. The momentum was with us. And actually, start of the second half, I thought that Fulham were on top. Actually, quickly, before we go on to the second half, we should mention at the end of the first half that there was a potential red card for Senesi on Anderson.
Yeah.
It was checked by VAR. They said that it was a glancing blow, not a full throttle leg breaker. So that's okay. I must admit,
You're going to admit what?
Well, I'm going to admit that I actually thought that it was a dive from Anderson at the time it happened. Obviously, you could tell from the reaction and the fact that VAR looked at it that I got that one slightly wrong on first impression. But yeah, I don't know. I certainly didn't think it was a red.
Yeah, totally agree. Not red card.
Yeah. Second half, I think the moment that this game might go down in folklore for was the substitution, the triple substitution. What on earth happened here? I'm still not 100% sure. I've only been able to look at limited things on my phone. But from my understanding, he wanted to bring on Adama Traore. Sessegnon's number came up, number 30. And Sessegnon, because he wanted to get on with it, we were 1-0 down, he went off the pitch. The fact that he went off the pitch meant that even though it was a mistake, and Marco says it was a refereeing mistake, I don't know who to believe here, that because Sessegnon had stepped off the pitch, the mistake couldn't be corrected. If Sessegnon hadn't gone off the pitch, then the number could have changed and all would have been fine. Obviously, Silva was apoplectic with the fourth official over all this. The fourth official was really blundering around with the numbers. It was a little bit of a farce. Have you ever seen anything like this?
It's one of those things where, like, I know every fan base thinks unique, silly things happen to them, but, like, God, it's just so Fulhamish, isn't it? It's like we're losing 1-0 in a really important game and we can't even, for some reason, get the substitutions right because of an administrative problem. Like, and it does feel silly. Like, it feels like it should be when the fresh player steps onto the pitch that then it's irreversible. But, you know, I mean, just an incredibly, incredibly silly situation and a set of substitutions that I'm not sure were, like, didn't necessarily aid the game. I thought Dan was fine. Sometimes made frustrating decisions. I thought bringing off Sander Berge over Sasha Lukic was baffling. Not that Sasha Lukic was having, like, the worst game in the world, but I thought he was a bit out of control. And then bringing on Kearney, it was just not the game for him. So, yeah, I wasn't delighted by the subs.
Yeah, for me, I thought that Sanderberg was totally the wrong call. I said it at the time. I was perplexed by that one. I mean, I said it against Palace that I think that, like, when you have Berger and Lukic at the base of midfield, you can build, and we have so much control over the game. And when one of them goes off, you notice it with, you know, when Lukic was suspended, we are not the same team, and I just don't understand the logic, particularly Kearney. Like, there are games for Tom Kearney. We all respect Tom Kearney and we love him, but I think there are games for Tom Kearney against that Bournemouth team that's so frantic in the middle of the park. It was a real, like, basketball match, and I just didn't think it suited Kearney. I thought Berger was dealing with it well. Yeah,
I feel like the games for Tom Kearney are the ones where a team is really open but not that scrappy. Like, Spurs are the obvious example. Obviously that was his cameo goal and he did get sent off.
Brentford at home as well, where they were sitting with a real low block, and you want Kearney to unpick the lock. Yeah,
like a difficult game against a team that is sitting back, but I just didn't think it worked. And then obviously also Ralph Muniz. Don't think Jimenez is that effective off the bench, but we will talk about Muniz' best moment of the game, I think. Which
do you want my explaining this, or do you want to explain?
I'm happy to. So he was waiting for a throw in. Bournemouth player was down, and the fans. He was standing, like, really near us. At the Vitality, you're really near the players. You can sort of see into their eyes. The fans were serenading him with his song. He went to bar, I couldn't get a start, and he was singing along. It was adorable, and he wasn't doing it to thank us. Like, it wasn't like he was being like, oh, I want to acknowledge that I'm being sung for, but I'm a professional, so I don't want to, like, clap. It genuinely was like he couldn't really help himself.
It was so muttered, though. You had to be quite close. We were quite close to the pitch. It was just kind of like, and actually, even maybe the amount I moved my mouth was exaggerating it too much. It was really like, it was really odd, but I mean, he's so adorable. He is the most wholesome footballer in the Premier League, maybe the entire Football League. There is no doubt about it. Singing his own song, amazing. I felt like Fulham maybe looked like we were going to get back into it for the first 15 minutes of the second half, but the last 15, maybe even 20 minutes plus stoppage time, we just looked a bit clueless, didn't we? It was Anderson trying to, like, place Hollywood balls towards Adama. Most of them seem to go out of play. Robinson, lots of positions down the left. Most of the crosses hit Kepa or were just headed away. Just felt like the plan B today sucked.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually thought the plan A was working. Like, obviously we conceded early, and, like, I'm not a physio or anything. Like, I know the players will get tired. They need to come off at whatever point. But I just thought that we were knocking down Bournemouth's door, and added in the level of chaos that someone like Adama provides just didn't actually add to the game. And honestly, if I have to see another Anderson long diag to Adama, it will be too soon. Like, yeah.
The long diag right, particularly. So there was one long diag left today to Robinson that was just like, pristine Joachim Andersen, but the ones right just seems like it was as if he was aiming for touch in a rugby match.
It just didn't work. And Pereira also came off for Smith Rowe. I thought Pereira was having a really good game and really tearing up that Vitality pitch, being really aggressive and in Bournemouth faces and winning balls back. And I think between him and Smith Rowe, he's definitely the midfielder with the higher work rate. It felt really like poor. It felt like really obviously poor decision making from Marco Silva at that point.
I think we were all in the stands even before Smith Rowe came on. Someone that wasn't with us said, "Oh God, he's going to bring on Smith Rowe, isn't he?" Like, I think we all just kind of knew that he would try the Smith Rowe tactic. Look, I want Smith Rowe to work. I think we might get there with Smith Rowe. We're trying not to be just like constant Smith Rowe haters. I think we all get that there's some nuance to it and stuff. But in this particular game with 15 minutes to go, I thought it was pretty blindingly obvious that Smith Rowe wasn't going to come on and make an impact.
Yeah, and I don't think like anything's really necessarily on Smith Rowe today, but it just was. Marco knows what kind of player Smith Rowe is. He knows what kind of player Andreas Pereira is. And Smith Rowe is a player that you want on the pitch when Fulham are in total control of the game. And Andreas Pereira is not. Like, we're playing away from home against a scrappy team. And not to discredit Bournemouth, like scrappy in a good way. They're very energetic and high pressing and all of that. But Smith Rowe is not the player that your manager should be bringing on. But, you know.
Quickly before we end, the race for eighth that seems to have been developing pretty strongly between Brighton, Bournemouth and Fulham. There are other teams in it, but it does feel like it is mostly us three. Obviously, a win today really would have cemented Fulham's stronghold on that. As it is now, all three teams are level on points. I mean, I still think that Fulham have got a good chance. I think there's a couple of matches coming up. You know, we've got the derby on Sunday, then we've got Southampton. There is still possibility for Fulham to do this. I think just the most frustrating thing about today is I think potentially you win or even draw. I think a draw today would have been a great result when you look at the table. I think was probably what we needed. And it's once again just Fulham being consistently inconsistent. The loss-win effect. I mean, it's not... I mean, there's worse runs to be on, but at the same time, you're just there going, if Fulham could just string 3 wins in a row at some point during this season, we would be so much further up the table. It is quite infuriating as a fan for it just to be this yo-yo. This is now our new yo-yo effect.
Yeah, better than the old one. Yeah, it is frustrating because I feel like today was a real missed opportunity. It's not over. It won't be over till the end. And I do still think that we might have enough to do it, but it's frustrating because it brings Bournemouth back into this race properly. If we'd won today, we would have gone 6 points clear of them. And not that that would have meant they were out of the race, but that would have been really, really statement. And we got a tough run of fixtures, but again, I do think we kind of thrive in those kind of games. And obviously the derby on Sunday, I'm so excited, but this kind of performance doesn't make you excited in some ways, but also I'm just so desperate for the response, and I feel it will come. At least I hope. Maybe Europe will be a step too far, and maybe that won't be the worst thing in the world. But to be honest, I would really like it this season. I'd really, really like it. I feel like it's our time now.
Yeah, I think that we've done more than enough this season to prove that we are worthy of finishing in a European place. But, you know, results like tonight do place that in perspective a little bit. And Bournemouth have been brilliant too this season. And, you know, sure. I personally think my overall conclusion of the game was... I don't think that Bournemouth were amazing tonight. But, yeah, Fulham just need to find ways to... just thrive a little bit better under pressure, and the fact that we did just let them have it after a minute, I think will frustrate Marco ultimately, because it's cost us this game. Anyway, we'll leave the quick take there. Liz, have you enjoyed doing the quick take in my kitchen? I think the pub is generally a better location, but needs must.
Well, it's break the fourth wall. It's like midnight, and we've just had a decaf tea, and that's been great. And also, which I don't think you can get in a pub. This is really sort of a baffling one for the Sammy Liz quick take curse, which we've had people writing about. But Sammy always gets the ones when we win, and I always get the ones when we lost. So I'm sorry for bringing the vibe down, but thank you for having me. And yeah,
If only it had been Dan Cook, it would have been a 3-1 win.
well, I mean, Dan, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Right, let us know what you thought of the game in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe. And let's see if we can pick things back up in the derby on Sunday. You whites.
You whites.